having told you of the blackness in my heart, I cannot go on living like nothing has changed. Please, give me punishment.
The biggest punishment. What's your name?
No!
It's so cold.
He did not challenge her, but simply kept his eyes affixed on hers, as if carefully watching to see what she would do next.
I'll say it as many times as I must. I love you. And I wouldn't be able to accept losing you without knowing anything. So please, tell me the reason. I'll see to it that you're taken care of.
Those are the words of a man of means, Lord Mel. Of someone blessed enough to have pity for others. You are a foolish young man. You know nothing. Too easy. But the greatest fool of all is myself. If you agree to punish me, I will talk.
Tell me.
Her long white hair and his soft flaxen hair touched. For just the briefest of moments, it appeared in the darkness as though they had fused together. He wishes.
This is all a dream.
The white-haired girl, having finally gathered the courage, began to slowly tell her tale. On the night of the storm, I paid a visit to Rose Manor, this mansion. My father and I were always on the move, traveling across the land by foot, so it was only recently that we heard rumors of Rose Manor. There are several reasons we couldn't stay in one place. First is my unusual appearance. People often find the color of my skin or eyes disconcerting. So after living in one place for long enough, unsettling rumors would begin to spread, forcing us to leave. Another reason was my father's line of work. He painted pictures for a living, but he had trouble finding a patron, so he had to work day by day. When he was no longer able to find work in a city, we would move on. We were birds that migrated without a flock. When we arrived at this town, my father was exhausted and weak. That is when we learned of Rose Manor and the family who dwelled within it.
Plot twist, her dad painted that picture of him and his sister.
Maybe. Rhodes is a name my father would never forget. He was long ago a painter in the service of the Rhodes family.
Hold on. Your father was an artist here.
Yes. It was before I was born, so you probably don't remember, Lord Mel.
So, you knew about us before you came here?
For as long as I can remember, I've known the name Rhodes. My father was chased from your home, just because he didn't like something he painted. Having failed the Rhodes family, no one else would become his patron. Just as a good reputation spreads, so does a bad one. Branded once as a failure, no one will take you in ever again. You nobles throw your parties and spread your gossip about this painter or that sculptor. The rose you tried to give me is an example of that. It was certainly crafted with skill, but the jeweler is only known because some aristocrat spoke highly of him. My father's paintings were no less skillful. His was a talent that could not be easily imitated. But no one was willing to separate the art from the artist. The Rhodes family stole everything from my father. But even thrown out into the streets, his only skill was painting. That was all he could do to earn a living. What little money we had for food, he gave to me. He did anything he could to ensure my survival, even at the expense of his own well-being. My father passed away in this town. Up until his last breath, he was only ever concerned about me. He held me in his arms and ran his fingers through my hair, an apologetic look on his face. If I had a normal appearance, I'm sure life would have been much easier. He was always telling me how sorry he was for making life so hard, even though it's not his fault I look like this. I disdained the Rhodes family for putting my father through such hardship. I imagined you were still living in decadence, acting as though nothing had ever happened. No, you wouldn't even care about the fate of one simple painter. Our lives meant nothing to you. And so I sought to bring misfortune upon you.
And that's why you tried to kill me.
In truth, I'd wanted to take the master's life, but your father spent so much time outside the mansion. And so...
You're right. If they lost me, it would put my family in a very difficult position.
That is the whole of my tale.
But what's your name?
The white-haired girl. You know nothing about my father, and how I feel about you. Oh, you now know about my father,
Yeah.
and how I feel about you. Having told you of the blackness in my heart, I cannot go on living like nothing has changed. Please, give me punishment.
The biggest punishment, what's your name?
No!
Why? Why would you have me? Why would you have me put the one I love through any more misery? Huh?
I am not fit for your affection. Not only because I am not aristocratic, but because every time I spoke with you, I did so holding this darkness in my heart. Does that not unnerve you?
In the end, it was my family's actions that caused you so much suffering. Would that your father was still alive, perhaps I could have done something. I'm sorry. And besides, you hesitated. You didn't actually kill me. What am I even to punish you for? As you said, you had countless opportunities, but you could not bring yourself to do it. Tell me, why couldn't you kill me?
Because
If it's because I've given you enough reason to have even the slightest bit of interest in me.
Nothing was as I envisioned it.
What?
I assumed the residents of Rose Manor would be cold, people who believed that wealth and rank mattered above all. But on the night of the storm, the mistress was the first one to extend her hand to me. I arrived at the mansion disguised as a beggar. Actually, disguise is not the right word, as many nights I only survived on the generosity of others. The mistress did not send me away when she saw me. Quite the opposite. She took me in as a servant.
So that was Mother's doing.
I could scarcely believe she would invite a stranger into her home, that she would treat a stranger with such compassion. I thought perhaps she knew who my father was, but I had never met any of you before, so she must simply be that kind-hearted a woman. And the mistress continued to treat me with kindness, despite my disquieting appearance and the darkness in my heart. In time, I began to grow less and less sure of myself. Was what I meant to do truly right? Were the things I felt truly justified? But it was a certain fact that my father was here and that he had been chased out. So I decided I would take your life, to put an end to everything before I wavered any further. And then...
And then?
You were too kind to me. It's all your fault. Because you laugh with such affection. Because you give me smiles like that. Because you say the things you say. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I'm so happy to hear that. Despite, the unusual circumstances.
How I Met Your Mother, kids.
I never knew her name.
And she tried to murder me.
Please, don't say you want to leave. Don't ask me to punish you. I couldn't do anything for your father, but at least allow me to do something for the daughter he cared for so dearly.
You are far too kind-hearted.
I'll be happier with you around. You can become a real aristocrat.
Huh?
There are families that would be willing to adopt you. Especially knowing it would bring them ties to the Rhodes family in the near future.
Are you saying,
As long as you're okay with that, of course.
I don't understand. How could you possibly say that? I have my hand around your neck, even as we speak.
It seems reasonable enough to me. I'm desperately looking for some way to not have to lose you.
But I couldn't. I don't know any etiquette or social norms, customs. How could I...
You can learn all of that. You're pretty and naturally graceful. You'll do just fine.
You're such an aristocrat, Lord Mel.
Well...
The way you can come up with compliments so easily.
Only for you. Nellie says my poetry has as much charm as a dissertation. I don't understand theater. It puts me to sleep. You laughed. Thank goodness. Keep smiling. You don't have to stop. A smile on your face is a smile on mine. No matter how deep the darkness has taken root in your heart, it can always be removed. I believe people are capable of forging their own futures. What do you say we go to the theater sometime? I promise I won't sleep through it. at the private theater, we can get seats at the far end of the second floor so we don't have to stand. That would be pretty lavish. They would be pretty lavish seats. And it would give you a chance to experience the noble life.
But...
Please, don't be shy. I can have clothes prepared for you. I'll ask one of the maids who can keep a secret, which is none. Say, the one with black hair. She kind of scares me, though. It's purple hair.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say. How could you show such compassion for me? I tried to inflict harm upon you. Am I allowed to feel such joy?
For every day you suffered, a day of happiness.
Alright, I'm gonna have to give it to Mel. That one was pretty smooth.
Ooh. That's how it has to be. So stand by my side.
He softly whispered the girl's name. Oh.
What the hell?
So I guess it's just us who don't know.
God! No, he doesn't know.
He just whispered the white-haired girl.
Pelo blanco. No, he doesn't know! It's her headcanon.
For several long moments, her lips trembled in trepidation. But in time, she squeezed them together and made a smile. He wrapped his arms around her unbelievably slender, frail frame, holding her tight in an affectionate embrace. Mel approached me the next day.
Oh no! Like a Pokemon.
He explained to me the course of events, and then asked me to dress her up more beautifully than any other noble girl had ever been. She was already a very pretty girl, so even without much effort on my part, simply putting in her dress, she radiated beauty.
I can't stop thinking about that. The white-haired girl.
I was quite partial to her smile, so I agreed to help, thinking that if it would lead to their happiness, I could not ask for anything more. I never anticipated what would happen next, though. Perhaps my hopes were unreasonable after all.
Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh. And since this is probably going to be a big scene, we should actually probably end things right here, even though it's a couple minutes earlier than usual. But hey! Woo!
I like this game every time, like so much more.
Yeah, it is very good. And, like, as I mentioned at the beginning, I do know what happens in this first chapter, and we're getting closer to the end of it, so I'm like, soon flying territory. But thank you all for coming by. It's always so nice to have an audience. You guys give great commentary.
Right. Please consider carefully where you're going to go.
Yeah! Stop fucking with the judge! Leave him alone!
Gums, you quiet down.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner?
What do you mean by that?
You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner?
I want you to give me a straight fucking answer, you little shit.
There's nothing straight about me.
Exactly. He doesn't like tacos. He prefers spaghetti.
Cowboy screaming in the mountains mean.
Spaghetti. If you eat spaghetti, you're gay. Confirmed.